Okay guys, so when XIX family migrated to Kingdom 67 to try and zero Brenjong, NPS and GBM migrated to Kingdom 656, and because we already had a friendship with EW, they were part of BFP family, we were able to get a nap with BFP and we've been zeroing some pretty big targets all week. So this guy right here, we zeroed yesterday. He did start off at over 1.3 billion might. I'm going to throw up the scout report now. See, he's got 30 million troops, 5 billion of each T4, but more importantly, he's got in total 6 million T3 and only a small amount of T2. Now, that makes this guy really vulnerable and a really good target. So I was actually making dinner right now, so I decided to just leave my phone on, let it record what was happening. Nash has already hit him with a leaderless rally that killed 1.4 million troops on the first hit. Now BSC are going to hit with infantry, and that's going to take out over 3 million troops. LQ has full mythic infantry gear with some champ pieces, so that's why it's able to do so much damage, and he uses Hui to avoid getting capped. Right after LQ hits, Nash starts an infantry rally with his leader, and LQ starts a range rally with his leader, because this guy is in a range phalanx. By now this guy has dropped under 1.3 billion might. Zan has also started an inf rally, and that's going to march as soon as I teleport in to come join the fun. I don't need to tell you how hard Zan hits, you've probably already seen it for yourselves. He does carpet that rally, and his leader comes back, probably also from Hui, maybe Dryder, and then right after Nash and LQ march as well. Nash does manage to burn this guy right after Zan gets capped, and before the front line's even broken, so that's pretty extreme and quite shocking considering the difference in HP between Zan and Nash. Of course, Zan has mythic champ gear and mythic champ accessories with the two Emperor pieces, so there is a vast HP difference there, so we can only imagine that Zan was also pretty close to burning him as well. Even though this guy does have 5 million of each T4, his composition is so bad that he's able to be burned before the front line has been broken. Nash hits him for 132 million might, and LQ comes after with range, takes out about 120 million. I'll probably explain in a future video why LQ's range hit did so much damage, but for now we're going to go back to this zero. Because there's no range left now, of course everyone else is going to set cav, apart from LQ who sets range again. I scouted this guy in between recordings. You can see he's only got about 12 million troops left, no range. They are reinforcing him with range, which will be a bit of a problem for the cavalry rallies, but now you can see that GBM is coming in. Cock is also sending inf. He's a bit late, should be sending cav now, but because of how bad this guy's composition is, he's still able to do massive damage with an inf hit. Unfortunately for GBM, sending inf into a target with mainly inf and cav left is going to be painful, but because of the range reinforcements, they get a decent drop anyway. With the reinforcements, GBM take him down 98 million might. I'm going to scout again. You can see he's only got 10 million troops left. By now, our rally, the rally timer is about 30 seconds. It's going to be quite close between us, BSC and BFP to see who launches first, because the guild that launches first is going to get the money shot. By looking at the profiles of the other rally leaders, I can see that all of the rally leaders are waiting in their gear to hit. Zan is in his cav gear, LQ is in his range gear, and Nash is in his cav gear. But we do actually end up launching first, and we get the second money shot. I would have thought that because Zan got his leader back at the beginning of the second round, due to him using Hui, that he'd hit first. I guess he was a bit slow resetting this time. So we march first, and BSC come a couple seconds later. BSC do try to carpet, take the money shot away from us. Fair enough, but they're not fast enough. We get there first, and our drop is absolutely massive. Zan launches a couple seconds later, carpets, and does take the leader. Nash does drop him 154 million might, which is an absolutely massive hit. It would have been more if there weren't any range reinforcements. Of course, this guild are going to reinforce him. Nash did use range wedge to cut through half of the reinforcements, so they weren't as much of a problem as they could have been. I was lucky enough to get most of the reports for this zero, so we're going to run through them from the first one to the last. Of course, we've got Nash burning him first, followed by that second burn from BSE, then from GBM, then Nash hits him again, followed by BSE, and finally Zan comes in at last and takes the leader. That guy had over 800 million troop might, and he was zeroed in around 15 minutes. Yeah, about 15-20 minutes. That's pretty extreme. These guys in BFP, they definitely know how to party. Unfortunately for us, we've been here a week, and in that time, pretty much all of the guilds not with BFP have migrated out. Got some more zeros to show you guys over the next few days. But in the meantime, here's another 1.3 billion Might Zero. This guy does actually have full mythic gear, and he capped 1 round of rallies before I came in. They did have his trip composition because he was in a public guild and he couldn't get reinforcements. This is a very difficult target because, like I said, full mythic gear. I'll show you his gear in a bit. He has, yeah, full mythic gear with 2 mythic cups, and his familiars are maxed. He's got maxed pay to play familiars, only 4 slots though. Just like the first guy, this second player is in range phalanx, but unlike the first guy, this guy has good composition. He's definitely not a farmer. He's got over 1 billion kills, and the first round of rallies were pretty much all infantry and range rallies. They took out all of his range, well, almost all of his range. So the second round of rallies is going to be all cavalry. We still have over a minute on our timer left when Zan and Xingyu launch first with cavalry. Zan's cavalry rally doesn't do much damage. I guess he's still got a bit of range left. Xingyu's does a fair amount of damage, but it's still pretty low. As you can see from the Emperor hats, this was filmed on April Fool's Day. Hope you guys liked my April Fool's joke this year. I did one last year where I uploaded a video called CTK Harry Jai account overview, but again, that was just a 10-minute blank video. And I'll probably do something similar next year. We've got SSC coming in now with cavalry, and that's going to be followed by EW, BSE, and finally us when our timer runs out. With the majority of targets, as soon as you clear the front line and send a full counter rally past that, they will burn. The only exception to that kind of general rule is targets with like a huge T4 and T2 count. They sometimes cap rallies after the front line's been broken, and also guys with this kind of gear and familiar setup. His familiars, well, I'll show you them after he gets burned. They're not optimal for defense, and his T4 count isn't super high, but of course that full mythic gear is going to make a massive difference. BSC are the first to walk back with only siege. We come in right after and burn him. As you can see from the report, the difference in losses is a bit drastic. BSC go from losing a full rally to us only losing about 700k troops. Now he only has 2.5 million left. So yeah, guys with this kind of setup and gear will not normally burn until you're kind of on the last line of troops, unless you have a super strong rally leader. As you can see from the detailed report that I'll show you in just a bit, he only has a tiny bit of inf and just mainly cav left. So the cavalry rally sitting before us would have taken out most of the inf. This guy does have some T3, which is quite surprising, and it's not a tiny amount of T3 either, it's a fairly significant amount, but for some reason that doesn't seem to have made much of a difference here, as I've seen accounts with much better gear, yeah, surprisingly enough, much better gear, with T3 still burn quite easily. So for some reason his T3 didn't affect his composition as much. But after our rally, he only has cavalry and siege left. Normally with 2.5 million troops remaining, he'd start soloing. I expected the Titans here to start soloing, but no one did because of how high his HP and his gear is. Fast forwarding to the second round, GBM were initially going to hit first with inf, which would have been painful for them because he's only got cav left with really good gear, but luckily BSC carpets in first to bail them out. I'd say LQ gets the good hit there, and then GBM hit right after to take the leader. So there you have it, guys. 1.3 billion Might players zeroed with BFP and family. I've got a lot more zeros from the last week to show you. Sorry I haven't been uploading much recently. I know I haven't done many videos since the Brenchong one. I've kind of been lazy about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.